born as little babies, and we grew up never realizing that the adults around you were little babies and that they grew up into big babies, and so they just go along with what they were taught, and other people go along with what they were taught, and the whole world goes along with whatever their culture has taught them. So that today, nobody knows beans about nothing.
Milk for babes, meat for strong men. Many people are going to be insulted by this video, by that statement alone. That no matter how old a person is, the fact that they've never taken the time to critically think through this Bible just demonstrates that they are still babies, that they're still drinking milk. And it's always interesting to me when I would be in churches or in some type of study program, and they would say that now we're having meat. But that was not meat. What they were consuming was the same rhetoric to which they were hearing in Sunday at church service. So it was quite pointless to be in those classes in the first place. Oh, sure, you learn a little bit more about breaking down words, the etymology, exegesis, and all these different things, these big words that you like to throw around every now and then. But have you ever actually critically thought through any of the information? When they teach you that going through the genealogy process, that the creation of Adam and Eve was only about 6,630 something BCE, and that the world is actually much older than that humanity have been on the planet much longer than that. Did you ever critically think through that? At the time of Noah would have been around 4,500 BCE. And the fact that human existence have been around longer than the 4,500 BCE and there were civilizations during that time frame, whether we're talking about those in Mesoamerica, those who were in Croton, those who were in in China, those who were in Africa, that civilizations existed before and during and after the flood. Did you ever critically think through any of those things? Because if you didn't, then you just accepted whatever's milk that they continued to give you, and you never actually consumed any meat because you didn't or were unwilling to do any comparison study. And without comparison study, then your information becomes biased and is just a result of cognitive dissonance in the fact that you're going to force your information, your milk, to be meat, but you're just a big baby at the end of the day. Does it ever occur to you that there are so many similarities between the Sumerian writings, the Kemetic writings, the Greek writings, the Zoroastrian writings, the Hindu writings or Indus writings? So many similarities to your Bible. And these writings were older than the stories told in your Bible. You don't critically think through those things now, do you? You don't think about how the Tower of Babel was talked about in the Sumerian writings and the Babylonians and the Akkadians, but yet it wasn't a form where the languages got mixed up, but yet it was a communication tower that was used by Marduk in order to communicate with his forces in his battles and his war against Enlil. And that those ziggurats existed long before your story ever happened. That there was no such thing as an Israelite before the Meneptah Stele made its first remarks about them, which goes in around 1400 BCE. So prior to that, nobody ever heard of an Israelite, but yet your stories would have to have happened before 1400 BCE. It's completely invalid. You didn't think through it. There's no evidence of an Exodus ever happening. There's no true historical evidence of Jesus. Yes, you're going to start saying, oh, well, Pliny and Tacitus. You're talking about people almost 100 years later writing about what people believed, not writing about what actually happened. That there are zero eyewitnesses to any of that information. That there's zero archaeological evidence of any of that information. That as far as we know, those people, biblical versions of those people, never existed. They are more likened to the stories of legend. Paul Bunyan probably existed, but was he 200 feet tall? John Henry existed, but did he really carve through a mountain in one day? Did you ever critically think through that? When your God held the sun up in the sky and it did not move, do you ever critically think of all the natural disasters that would have happened all around the world if that had actually happened, but there's no recording of those natural disasters happening? Would not other civilizations have recorded that the sun stayed up much, much, much longer than it should have? Nobody else recorded that, but it's in your Bible, because if the sun did stay still like that, other civilizations would have realized it, and it would have been a red letter day, and they all would have talked about it, but no one else talked about it. So once you start critically thinking and really do some comparison study, you start to have a little bit of meat instead of drinking all that damn milk. But babies like milk. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.